Howdy, folks. Whoa. I don't want that audio. Turn that audio off. Okay. Howdy, folks. Oops.
What the heck? Oh, I want that one. All right. There we go. Howdy, folks. How you doing? I think I still am a little bit soft. I could give myself a little more volume on that sucker. There we go. And I should probably turn my audio off. Oh, my gosh. There we go. Hey, welcome to the live stream. I actually don't like hearing my own voice. It sucks. Let's see if I can turn my voice off. There we go. Hey, welcome to the stream here. I just turned my headphones off, so hopefully it all sounds pretty good here. Oh, it'll probably only come out of one ear. Well, let me fix that too. This is what happens when you do an impromptu stream from your backyard. Just out of randomness and using equipment I'm not used to using, at least for this particular setup. This is my mobile internet studio setup. There we go. Now we're coming out both ears. I think that'll be better. Let's listen to that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I am here in my backyard. Say hi in the chat, and I'll see if I can pull you guys up and make sure this all works. I've got the sun beating down on me, so you'll have to forgive me for whatever it's happening today. Oh, we got some folks coming in. Excuse me, I'm going to have to sneeze. This is really sad. Hold on. Oh gosh, sorry about that. There, now you got a picture of me sneezing. Now you know my life. Now you know everything there is to know about me. Alrighty, here we go. Tej Men says thank you. Oh gosh, thank you so much for your technical explanations. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be hopefully making some more. I am now sitting in front of, still looks great. Oh, thank you. I am now sitting in front of my new studio that I've been on the books planning for 6 months, ever since I moved out of my last studio, because the rent just became egregious. You know, when I first started 11 years ago in my studio, I was paying $800 a month, which is about 50 cents per square foot. And then by the time I left, it was becoming $2,500 a month, which is like $1.50 per square foot. I mean, it was a lot. And then I decided, you know, for what I use it for, you know, I might as well just build something in my own backyard and pay it off over like 5 years and then not have any rent to pay. So that's where I'm at. So behind me, if you can, I'm going to go ahead, is the progress we have right now. So it took like 6 months, literally 6 months to like get this thing permitted. And then when they started construction was, I want to say, the first couple weeks of January. And I can kind of pan over and you can kind of see, this is the studio that I have right behind me. Whoops, I'm not doing this very well. See, I will be in the, well, no, I won't be in the shade at all because the sun's going to go that direction. But if you would like a little tour of my studio, I can definitely do that. But I'll have to get off the good microphone. So I just want to say introductions to everybody. Welcome. Why not? Let's go for a little tour, okay? Bless you. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. Let's do this. I want to get off the headphones. I want to turn the audio onto the thing so the audio won't be as good. Just fair warning. Here we go. All right, switching over. All right. You should be able to still hear me. Let's take a little tour. So, this is my 320 square foot studio, currently in the framing. So when we enter through double doors, I have a little studio space here to work with. So I'm probably going to do slatted walls in the background, do some probably wood flooring on the floor. But this will be the kind of the shooting space in here. So as you get the sense of scale here, this will be the space I'll be doing like Filmmaker IQ shoots, product shoots, anything I need to do. I'll be doing in our main studio. I'm also a musician, so I'm planning to definitely use this a lot for rehearsals, for any friends of mine come over and play small group stuff. As far as editing is concerned, I have this little room here created. So this will be sort of my editing suite, edit bay. Enough room for my desk here, and I might mount the preview monitor above me for this particular thing. And then I have a little server room. Probably store some of my cameras back here. Back here.
and this will be kind of server storage room. I do operate out of a NAS drive, so I have a pretty fast flow NAS that I use for storing my stuff. That gets backed up to Dropbox. I'll probably work on backing up to the S3 Glacier. So that's a quick tour of my little studio so far and how we're going to come along with it. And it sits right back here in this little courtyard, which is my house. And this will be a nice little seating area for all of that. And then you can see trying to grow my little garden stuff back there. Some things are growing. Yeah. Anyhow, hopefully that wasn't too unstable footage. Get back on good audio.
All right, here we go. All right, now we're back to good. Good. So that was a quick little tour of my studio. Hopefully it wasn't too obnoxiously stuttery. I know the internet, what do you call it? The internet connection may not be the most steady because I don't have internet running out here just yet. So there you go. Let's take a look at your comments here. That room looks like it has a lot of potential. Sure it does. I'm super excited about all of that stuff. It's really coming together really well. Here, I'm gonna organize my screen here so I can see your comments better. Let's go that and that. There we go. Do you feel that you need to pre-plan ventilation in your studio to ensure everything gets the appropriate cooling that you may need? That is a concern as part of the permitting process too, because obviously I want to put some sort of split air conditioner in there because during the summer it's going to get pretty warm in there. And I haven't talked to the planners or the designers, so I designed the idea, the general shape of the layout of the place, but I did not actually draw up the plans. So when we did the permitting for the city, they did have to require a certain amount of insulation be installed because I was going to put air conditioning in there, and in California you need to have a certain kind of level of insulation in order to put air conditioner because they don't want you blasting electricity into an air-conditioned room without having proper insulation in there. So it is definitely a consideration. But the thing is, it is an open floor plan. I don't intend to have any doors inside the thing. All the hallways will be open, so there should be pretty cool. Thomas Raymond says, "Thank you for the quick tour. Very inspirational." Yeah, to me, it's so exciting. I've got my front yard I'm working on too, so the transformations I've been doing to my house have been just for me, deeply personally exciting. There's a long story behind how I got here, but in the last 6 months have been extremely transformational, going through just reconstructing my space, my living space. And I went from kind of at one point I was thinking I was going to move away from here and try something different, but I decided instead to plant roots and make things better. And I'm telling you, my friends a lot of them are, big giant. They play Minecraft and they play MMORPG games and stuff like that, crafting games. And taking care of a house and space is sort of like that. There's always an endless number of things to fix and do. And like this morning, I was fixing my the irrigation. I was cleaning out my driveway. Cleaned out the driveway. I opened this box, so I got this I'll pan over to you. Oops, that's not pan over. This is wrong way. I got this thing, which is a stair climbing dolly. I spent the money on that because I figured I don't want to break my back moving this particular anvil case, which is what I use for live streaming and doing multicam stuff on things. I'll show you what it looks like. If we just see, this is my big anvil case for doing live streams and stuff like that. But we have a job where I do take it out and have to take it to a second story, and I was discovering that it was just way too heavy to try to lug up using a manual. I'm just trying to center my shelf here. Trying to make a manual stair climbing dolly was just way too heavy. This thing probably weighs about 200 pounds. And so I got the stair climbing dolly and I practiced on those stairs back there. and it is amazing. I am so incredibly impressed by that. I mean, I did spend a pretty penny on it, but I think it will come back. I'm getting to the age where I feel like, you know what? I'd rather spend the $700 for a stair climbing dolly than spend, weeks in pain with lower back pain. I feel like that's an exchange I'm willing to make at this point in my life. Hey, Orange, you saw this live stream and joined. Thank you for years of helpful lessons and best of luck with your new studio. Thank you so much. I already have some ideas I want to do for the new studio. I've got some or new videos that I want to do once I get in the new studio. The whole idea of this is going to be a much more calm and peaceful place for me. And I'm getting older. That's the thing. The hair is gone. The hair is gone, so a lot of things in my life have been shaping up, and I feel like there are some thoughts I want to put together in Filmmaker IQ videos that are a little more like there's an idea of a video called the Zen of depth of field. Like there's a Zen place you can get to with depth of field, and I don't know, so many arguments even online. I still unfortunately do visit Reddit, and I still see people talk about depth of field and don't really understand what they're talking about. Where am I in bouts? I am in Southern California. Luckily, I don't have too much of a wildfire issue because, God, knock on wood, right? Always in Southern California. But I am in a relatively suburban zone. I am on the edge of suburbia. I'm in a city called Temecula, and is that my neighbor's dog like hacking up a fur ball or something? Anyhow, I am on the I am on the edge of Temecula, which is so just about a mile, not even a mile, like maybe half a mile that direction is what they call wine country. So that is more rural, open area, but it is wine country, so it's very very watched over. There's a lot of economic value, so they really do clear brush and all that stuff. And then right behind me is a park. So it's a city maintained park. So I have like basically a pretty good fire barrier, and really I'm not that close to any kind of wild brush anywhere. So luckily I'm in a pretty good place. Although if you go that way, maybe half a mile, you do end up with some wild brush. But there's a lot of stuff in between us and potentially wildfire. So hopefully, knock on wood, I won't have any issues with that. My first studio will be the size of a card box. Well, you can always dream and hope. Surprisingly, like I'll be honest. Like I thought about, like I've been thinking about this a lot, and I am fortunate and blessed, and I am very grateful for what I have in my life. But there is, if you're willing to put in some elbow grease, you can get things that are not as expensive as you think. I think what it is if you pay people to do all the work, obviously it adds up because, you have to pay people. But if you're willing to put in a lot of sweat and tears, I'll tell you a story. So I'm redoing my front yard, and I went into a nursery called, I'm not going to mention the name, shouldn't mention the name. But the first one, I was trying to pick a tree out for my front yard. And one of the trees I was looking at was a magnolia. And I thought, okay, that magnolia looks pretty, yeah, it's a nice looking tree. I wanted something that didn't drop the leaves during the winter. And so the first place I went was $1,500. $1,500 for the tree, a 5-year-old tree. They would plant it, and there'd be a what do you call it? A warranty on the tree. So if it dies, they'll bring in the other one. Like, okay, $1,500, and I was like, well, that's a lot of money, but it seems like it'd be worth it. So I went to another nursery, and I said, oh, there's another one here, and they want like $750 to plant this tree and put it in there. And I'm like, okay, that's another option. And then I went to a nursery that's literally like half a mile that way, really, really, really close. And I asked them what kind of tree, and my neighbor kind of talked me out of doing magnolias. And I asked them something else, and they said, well, Japanese blueberry would be a good one. And Japanese blueberry to me kind of has similar leaves like the magnolia. And I decided to pick that up, $170. Now I asked them, like, what if I had someone to plant it? Well, here's a card, a handyman that might do it. And I thought, I could probably do this myself. So it was a 5-gallon box. I dug the hole, plopped it in, $170, man. So from went from $1,500 for a magnolia planted to $160 to do it yourself. So there's a lot to be said about DIY. Any new gear I'm looking forward to in the new studio. I am going to try to run some audio. I've just started getting into Dante networking, and I don't want to buy it yet. I'm not even sure I'm going to buy it. I will buy it probably by the end of the year, but I want to get a used digital mixer. It's a rack mount digital mixer, and then I want to be able to plug that into my setup so I can send Dante audio through some speakers in the back there. I definitely do want to run a couple. I want to put a monitor, hang a monitor. I've got some TVs from the old studio that I can put up there, so I want to hang it just for reference and stuff. I am going to. I have an older computer that I'm going to do build it as a server, a media server, and so I will be putting my Google Home into the studio and then feeding the digital signal back into the house, so everything will be kind of centralized in the studio. So that's the thing I'm most excited about, is trying to figure out a way to kind of network everything and get everything talking to each other. That would be really cool, and that's really exciting. Otherwise, like other kinds of equipment, I don't know. I've had this Fujifilm GFX 50 for a while now. I want to do some headshots. I want to do some modeling for fashion, or God forbid, nude photography in the studio. So that's something I wanted to do, but I haven't had the space to do anything with it yet. So that's something I want to look forward to. I want to do stuff with Filmmaker IQ. I've got some ideas for videos. Probably, hopefully everything will just be a little more calm, and this little patio will be like a serene space. So hopefully I'll have just more chillness in my life in order to like handle everything. So that's what I've been looking through. You can't see through all the 60 FPS soap opera effect happening. Am I at 60 FPS? I don't know if I'm 60. Am I? I think I might be 29 or 30. The reason why is because, well, YouTube tends to just broadcast everything in 30 anyway. And I'll be honest, like I don't shoot 30. I don't shoot 24 as often as I'd like to anymore. I mean, I do for anything that's a talking head is a shot 24. I just starting to work on a homeless documentary, and I had the guy shoot at 24. I hired another local videographer to help me out when we shot at 24. But because I do a lot of live event stuff, it's been a lot of 30. I've been doing a lot of 30 frames per second. Nothing wrong with 30 frames a second when you're working with broadcast. It's fine. It works. But yeah, I like 24. Bare Feet Shoe Box Production. There you go. There's a name for that. May I ask, what are your plans with the studio once it's complete? Well, the studio is my workspace. This is where everything gets done. If you don't know, I'm a professional videographer. I call myself a commercial filmmaker. I have to explain oftentimes to people what there's a couple. I'd make a distinction between documentary and narrative film. I'm primarily a documentary filmmaker. I'd love to do more narratives. Maybe once things settle down, I can work on narrative. The difference between narrative filmmaking is narrative filmmaking is filmmaking that talks about like movies, story, scripted, actors, that kind of thing. It's a narrative film. Documentary is more reality based. So documentary could be like working for city governments, getting documentaries as we traditionally understand them, industrials, that kind of stuff. That's all like documentary stuff. So I do primary documentary. That's what pays my bills. It's paying for this thing right here. So that's what my space is going to be. It's for doing all that. And then the studio space is for fun, but also for doing Filmmaker IQ videos, doing shoots, doing rehearsals and stuff like that. All kinds of things I can do inside that space. It's a multi-purpose room. That's what's beautiful about it. So let's see more. I used to live close to the 15 and 91. That's not a good place to live. Well, which one? 1591. Okay, so like Corona area, right? Corona Norco. Yeah, that's pretty rough. I mean, not saying it's a bad place. I used to work in Corona. That's why I grow my own weed. Well, then why not? I grow my own sugar beans. I've been trying my hand at growing stuff. got some strawberries that are going. Hopefully they'll get some strawberries sooner or later, but we'll see. Left-handed puppetry, how you doing? Congrats on the progress. Yeah, I'm excited. So this thing got built in about a week or so. So right now, I think Monday they're going to have an inspector come by and inspect it, and then I don't know what's next. Maybe doing the installation. They got to do the roofing still. So they just talked to me about the shingle color. So I mean, like I can't see the shingles. It's pretty tall. I mean, the whole thing is like what I'd say about 20 feet tall, high to the front part of the roof because the roof slants backwards. A projector for projecting backgrounds. No, I'm not using. I'm going to try to move away from the projector backgrounds things and go more kind of traditional, real life stuff. It's not that I don't like them. It's just that I just found it's just another piece of puzzle I had to figure out all the time. Oh, if the accountant asks, yeah, no, it is a 100% workspace. Like even when I say for fun, that's all my fun stuff is actually work. Like I have to everything I do that I consider fun is part of my work because it's like I get paid to play trumpet, so I have to pay taxes on that too. I get paid to do photo shoots. I get paid to do videos. So it's all part of the expenses of it all. So definitely that kind of that I do have to figure out how to do the taxes on it, because it is a structure. I don't know if I don't think I can expense the whole thing. I would have to break it down. I have to depreciate it over. Last I looked, and I haven't really looked at. I've only asked Perplexity AI, but they say you have to expense it over like 30 years, and I'm like, well, 30 years, it's not. That's not that much money then per per year, because I'm going to pay this thing off in like 5, so I feel like we need to like up the amortization quicker than 32 years what it takes to amortize the price of this building. So I mean, it'll all be next year's tax return, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. I still need to do this year's taxes, which I haven't done yet. And I'm kind of a little worried because I think on paper I might have made more money than I show on my bank account. So I have to figure out what I missed there in terms of that. So that is the update on what's going on with the studio. See how many folks are. We have 30 folks online here. Nice. Okay, so I wanted to kind of get into something a little more, shall I say, a little more philosophical, and that is where we are with cinema right now. And I was thinking about this the other day. Let me make sure I'm still online. Am I still online? Pretty sure I am. Wave to the camera here. Yep, I think I'm still here. Yeah, there we are. Let's see here. Yep, yeah, there. What wave? Okay. So I've been getting back. I've never seen Twin Peaks. As someone that's always been a very big David Lynch fan, and so one of the reasons why I decided to become a filmmaker actually was the movie Mulholland Drive. Like I saw Mulholland Drive, I believe when I was 18 years old. I think my dad took me to see it, and it was so like it was a movie that kind of opened me to what the possibility of what films can do. And I was lucky because I grew up in the 90s. So I mean, I had a really good stretch of time with films is concerned. They had really it's kind of an independent renaissance then with Kevin Smith and Quentin Tarantino. Soderbergh at the time was making stuff, and then Mulholland Drive with David Lynch. There was a lot of great smaller films that showed me what like films could be, and unfortunately, though, I think in the last 5 or 10 years, or maybe even longer than that, it feels like things have gotten to be less that kind of film. And I know I'm not the only one saying this, and the thing is though, a lot of what constitutes talking about film these days is talking about big Hollywood spectacles that are fun. And don't get me wrong, I don't dislike Marvel movies. I don't dislike some of these big action movies, but the thing is they're just so big and action, and they're not really like personal, interesting stories, at least as far as I'm concerned. And so I worry. Well, honestly, in the last like 5 years, where it's just become culture war stuff. It is. We have got to the point where now we have a movie like Amelia Perez, and I honestly look. I didn't watch it. I just read things about it, and I know that people are. You shouldn't judge things just by what other people are saying. But I've seen that one clip, and I thought this is awful. This is just awful. And that's considered, like 100. That's considered like Oscar level kind of work. Um, it's it's become less, like it's gotten me kind of down on the whole idea of making movies. And and I've had my own brushes up with it, because when I was younger, I used to think that in order to become a good filmmaker, a way to become a good filmmaker is to understand theory. Like if I understood the theory of film, then I could use that theory to practice and make better films. And I think the problem with that is it's wrong. Like I think if you were to go to film school, not film school, if you were to go get yourself a film major, if you went to study film studies, right? If you studied film, you would not be a better filmmaker. In fact, you'd probably be a worse filmmaker. You would be because your mind would be corrupted by the whole things like auteur theory, queer theory, feminist theory. Like all this stuff is actually the antithesis of making good films. Making good films is found through the creation, the internal introspection of filmmaking. And if you are, I'm speaking for myself here, if you are start to internalize all these isms, these ideologies of these film studies courses, if you internalize that, you become paralyzed and you can't really create something emotionally and true. And the reason why I'm kind of tying this all up to David Lynch, because to me, David Lynch is somebody that evades this type of film theory stuff. Like, I mean, I'm sure the film theorists could sit around and probably dissect his movies all the time, but I don't think he himself worried about that. I think he himself dug into the transcendental meditation stuff and really tried to understand his own personal soul. And I feel like that was how he was able to get the kind of visions and meanings that he was able to create. And then when you watch his films, they defy, they don't, they defy the intellectualism that modern film discussion has become. And when I'm talking about modern film discussion, I'm talking about like what's happened ever since people have started talking about movies on the internet. And don't get me wrong, I guess, film theory, film critics have gone back and, Pauline Kael's, and they would get into major discussions about what films meant and all that. But nowadays, it just seems right now like everything has to be dissected to an inch of its life. And then on top of that, if there's anything problematic, right? Even the word itself, problematic, sends chills up my spine. Like things can be problematic. Like, oh, you presented a historically mistreated gender or historically mistreated nationality or ethnicity. You portray them in a bad light. That's problematic, and it just irks me. It just irritates me. It's so, but it feels like we're so paralyzed by that. We're so incredibly paralyzed by that even the political correctness and that there's no freedom of expression or like we're second guessing ourselves all the time. All the time, and to me it's like it's been a very very big issue. And that's why, like in recent, friends and I, every week or so, we get together and we watch, we call it Bad Movie Night. And essentially it boils down to watching genre movies. Like genre movies from the 70s and 80s, when you don't have this level of self-introspection and you can just have, brawny, muscly guys that are naked fighting, people, like monkey people, and killing them, and then beautiful buxom girls running around. Oh, you can have that. It's genre film. Not necessarily they're not even necessarily exploitative movies. They're just fun and silly and stupid, and you can sit there and you can like cheer them on, and you can make fun of them, and there's a joy in that kind of filmmaking that is just not here. Like in the last live stream we talked about Megalopolis, right? And we watched Megalopolis on one of our bad movie nights, and it was liberating because we were all sitting there going, "WTF? What the fuck? This movie is insane." What? We were laughing, but I could just see that people in the theater being very quiet and stoic and watching the movie and like, yes, indeed. And I don't know. I'm just kind of giving you like my sense right now, like what I'm feeling as far as filmmaking is concerned. And like it's very hard. Well, apartment. So I also teach. One of my jobs, if I got many jobs, one of my jobs is being a professor at a school, and I teach intro to filmmaking. And I see students that have a passion for film, and part of me is like, I've sort of lost some of that passion because of the way society has become around films, and I want to kind of get back to that kind of passion, to get back to the filmmaking is life. Filmmaking is beautiful and storytelling and driven, and not just content to be consumed, content to be binged. And that feels like a lot of what, I don't know, just feels like right now everything is just bingy content. And I don't know. Let's get to your comments, see what you guys are thinking while I'm blabbling on. This is what I'm thinking. Let's go back here. I can only agree. I'm bored by action movies because it's just SFX shown to the max. Yeah, and I don't know. Like we watch a lot of old. Like we watched a Chuck Norris movie. It was a canon movie. I think it was called like, I forget what it was, but there was a ton of explosions in it, and it was just like a ridiculous amount of explosions, and it was fun, and it wasn't so SFX driven, or VFX driven. I mean, SFX are what you like. SFX are special effects, VFX. It's not just like digital VFX where you can just throw the camera everywhere. I don't know. I've also got to the point where like I'm sick of cool stuff. Like, I'll be honest, I tried to watch the first season of Severance, and I got a little bit in, and it just got too damn depressing for me to watch it. And I know there's a lot to be said. Everyone's talking about the Severance intro, the new like intro they have for Severance, but like I watched it and I thought, this is just, to me, it's just showing off. It's just showing off that you can do this. Like, to me, it's a cool visual, but like it doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't strike me in an interesting way. I think the first season's intro was actually more interesting. That's just me. Maybe I'm just jealous. That's probably what it is. Happy New Year. Yes, it is the second month already of New Year. It might be the same as with good music. Often artists have a heavy burden to carry the create the best works of art. I think the last movie that touched me was L.A. Crash. Well, I think maybe you're right. Probably very similar to music. I think for me, well, this is why like going back to Twin Peaks was kind of really interesting for me, because I just enjoyed. There's something about Twin Peaks that was almost, you can feel like it's almost like a mock. It's like a mock of. It's almost a parody of soap opera tropes, because the music is somewhat kind of heavy-handed sometimes, and it becomes very soap opera. But then it delves into some weirdness. And there's something about David Lynch, and I was talking to AI about this, because I often talk to AI because I don't have friends that will really go with me this deep when I talk about this kind of stuff. But David Lynch has this ability to just create something that is surreal and yet accessible. So I was comparing it to the movie Synecdoche, New York, and I'll tell the story again because I was doing film reviews, and I wanted to see Charlie Kaufman's Synecdoche, New York. So I went to L.A. to the ArcLight Theater. It was the only place playing in my at that time, and that's like a 100-mile drive for me. And I didn't know how it was pronounced. I thought it was Synecdoche. So I went up there. One for Synecdoche, New York, please. And the teller's like smirking, like, haha, here you go. And the couple behind me, which is also out of towners, are like, oh, maybe we should see that. Synecdoche, New York it is. And then I sit down and they're like, all right, welcome to Synecdoche, New York. And they're like, oh, fuck. That was so embarrassing. But anyhow, I loved the first third of Synecdoche, New York. But then after the first third, it just became oppressively surreal and the point where it was an intellectual surrealism. So I was talking to AI about this and how David Lynch has the ability to create surrealism, but in a way that is grounded in like mystery and grounded in curiosity, emotions, and it's never. I mean, sometimes he can go a little out there. I admit it. Sometimes it can get a little too much. But his more popular works, the surrealism is so like like uh, uh, baseline or so naturalistically instinctual, I guess is the word I'm looking for, instinctual. Whereas in Synecdoche, New York, the surrealism is grounded in intellectualism. And I'm going to call me an anti-intellectualist here for a second here, but I feel like maybe this is what I'm getting at and what I'm trying to get at the whole time here is that cinema has become very intellectualized. And I don't mean intellectualized as in like this is smart, heady stuff, but intellectualized as I mean as in meaning we have to be able to think about everything. Like why did Luke Skywalker do this? Well, here's the intellectual reason. He was there because of this, and this is how you explain every freaking detail. And in David Lynch's world, things can kind of just be like be. All right, and there isn't this he allows this space to not have to intellectualize every stinking thing, and some things can just be like what's happening here, and there, he can delve in and pull those emotional strings, and in thinking about all of this because I was trying to figure out like what's my relationship to film going on from here in my life. And maybe as I thought about this as I watched Twin Peaks is to rediscover why I love film, and it was to avoid the intellectualism. It's to get away from the intellectuals and get to the emotion, because emotions are not intellectual always. I can sit and explain why my last relationship fell apart, but it doesn't explain the emotionalism. It doesn't really delve into the emotional aspect of why things happen in our lives, and I feel like that was what was missing from my filmmaking. So hopefully, going forward, maybe that's the angle I need to play is to head into that emotional aspect and find and tap that emotional aspect rather than the intellectual aspect. Because I feel like so much of modern filmmaking is intellectual. Again, not to say intellectual as in smarty pants, but as in this is the way the world is. Let me explain every last detail. Let's find every single of the 35 minutes talking about all the Easter eggs in this movie. That's intellectual. That's not the emotional. That's my thought. Uh, let's see what else to say. In case I misspelled it, cinematography. Maybe we have seen it all. I don't think so. Like I don't think we've seen it all. I think it's because I still feel like in a good movie, I still can feel. And like I can go back to the whole intellectual versus emotional, right? Like it's when I think if you say you've seen it all, it's an intellectual argument. You've seen it all, literally. How many stories are there, right? How many? There's only some people argue there's only one true story, right? That's an intellectual approach. The emotional approach, I think, might offer what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? It could be that the emotional side of things is the the journey, good music. It's the emotional ride, not the intellectual side. Although to be fair, like I'm hyper intellectual, as you can tell, and that's the big irony of it, right? this channel is called Filmmaker IQ. IQ stands for intellectual quotient or intelligence quotient. IQ, intelligence. Like, I'm part of the problem. I'm sitting here going to tell you about the Zen of depth of field. you know, I want to tell you about, for me. So this is how I approach art too. So I've been doing painting for the last, 6, 7 months now, and I was at the Merc last night. I was playing a concert, a Valentine's Day concert. Valentine's Day, as I like to call it, single person recognition night, awareness. There it is, single people awareness day. But I was in the Merc, and Merc is a offshoot of a community theater, which is like a small jazz club kind of thing, and they have art on display, and they've talked about maybe getting my art on there, but I was looking at the art and I was thinking, like, some of it I really liked, some of it I didn't like at all because I thought it was poorly done. Like, so I guess what I'm saying is I have a massive amount of intellectualism in my approach to art because I can't turn that off. Like my brain is sitting there saying that perspective is wrong. I like, that what I liked about the art that I saw were the mixes of colors. I thought the colors were very, very good mixed together. But I didn't like some of the perspectives I thought were really off-putting. That they were drawn by a 5-year-old. They lacked the kind of discipline that I would have wanted to see in something that is that colorful and that interesting, and it's something, it's a critique of when I do my portraits. I take kind of the Jon Stewart approach to my portraits. My portraits are jokes in themselves, so I can say, well, I'm just being funny. But anyhow, I guess I can't, what I'm saying is I can't turn off the intellectualism. So I worry about that if I were to approach art the way that David Lynch would approach it and abandon myself to pure emotionalness. I may not be able to do that because I can't abandon my intellectual pursuit of that stuff too, because I have that element in me. Not to say I don't relish the inventive, emotional aspect of it. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm babbling. I have headphones on. I bet you my neighbors can hear, and they're like, "What is John doing back there? He is insane." Let's get your comments. Will you do a new videos this year? Yes, I will. Once I get the studio going, I do want maybe a simple one on polarizers. I've been thinking about that for a long time. And once my studio is built, it'd be fun to just do a polarizer video, because that won't be very long. But it'll be a kind of introduction to everything. You study filmmaking in Santiago, Chile, and we make short films of every semester, and the majority of the stories our teachers select are PC, pitch a show, queer story. It enters production ASAP. Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's what I mean, the culture war stuff, right? It's just, it feels so much like you have to play that game in order to be, well, it just feels like you have to play that game. And I don't know. I don't like that. I don't want to play that game. Maybe evolutions in technology, 3D, UHD, HDR made us forget about good storytelling. I agree in part. I think more in part is I think it's social media has something to do with it. And what I mean by that is clicks. Like, we are the problem. Like if I were to tell you, like, let's say your favorite movie, one of my favorite movies is Mad Max. What's the fourth one? You know what I'm talking about. Fury Road. Mad Max Fury Road, right? It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And let's say it's my favorite movie, and then I see that film, at least you'll probably hear me for a little bit here. Let's see if I just go something different. I'm going to flash it. There we go. Okay, I think we're back. I probably won't be able to stay too long because the battery is dying on that little camera. It is battery driven. So, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, social media. So, one of my favorite movies is Fury Road, and /film will write an article like Fury Road has people upset about it. People are upset about Fury Road. And I'm like, oh, I got to click on that, right? And so I click on it. It's like somebody on X or Twitter back in those days. It's like, well, I have a problem with it because the women in it were not a particular thing, and that's example of like feminist theory is male gaze and all. And it's like one person on Twitter said something, and now it's a news story, right? So there's this pressure in media to always sensationalize everything, and it just becomes insanely sensationalized. So every damn thing becomes a story, and I don't think filmmakers are oblivious to that. They should be. At least I know I'm not. I'm very sensitive to stuff like that. So I think that's part of what happened is we try to sanitize things for the social media, which you can't do because the social media is just going to sensationalize every damn thing is out there. So what are you going to do? Just let it be, So I think that has something to do with it. I don't know if UHD, 3D and all that stuff. Although yes, in some ways. Oh, I got to tell this story. So yesterday or Friday, one student came up to me who is who's a little older lady. She has a family, and I think she has a pretty good job. She told me, like, hey, I'm taking a photography class, and the teacher said that I need to buy the best equipment I can get at my hand. I need the reinforced idea that I need to buy the best equipment. I should buy the best. And I thought, oh, that's a bad thing for a teacher to say to a student. Don't, look, I'm not going to say don't buy good equipment because you should buy good equipment. But I don't want to turn this into you must buy good equipment in order to succeed in this world. So, like I said, I think UHD, there's so much emphasis on like high quality images that we forgot kind of how to tell. We forgot to put the emphasis on, telling something that's a good story. So I think some ways the technology has sort of masked the desire to tell something good. I feel like Letterboxd ruined movies every time I have to visit the site. There you go. That's an idea. Where'd it go? Okay, I like user reviews on IMDb much more. Not trying to make gag flippant reviews. That's true. But you gotta remember too, like there was Pauline Kael before there was Roger Ebert. So Roger Ebert did not invent movie criticism, and Pauline Kael would arguably be way more snippy than Roger Ebert ever was. So I mean, film criticism has been along for a long time. It hasn't been like, what do you call it? Egalitarianized. What's the word? Democratized. But I get you. Yeah, sometimes those sites are just, I get you. I totally get you. I think our attention spans and imaginations have too much distractions now. In the 90s, there's no internet, no video games, sucked visually. Movies had a bigger portion of it. I agree with that, too. No, I totally agree with that. But then again, on the flip side, though, people binge watch TV shows. And in some cases, that's also a problem, too, right? Because no one has the attention span to sit through 6 hours of TV show, but people do. People watch, spend 6 hours watching TV. I know I have, right? 6 hours episode after episode. But when you consume episodes that quickly, how much time do you have to internalize any of it? Other than like just feed me more, and you just kind of like you just consume it all, and it makes the content less fulfilling. You know what I mean? I don't know. That one's a hard one to crack. I know. As I say, ironic that we were discussing the current state of the film industry with the professor. Well, so I mean, I'm never going to tell you that I'm part of the film industry because I'm not. I've always been outside of it. I'm an outsider looking in, although I'm much more of an independent person, like independent creator. So I've never actually been on a film set, but I like to teach people how to do, DIY stuff. So I mean, there's that aspect of it. Lust is not meant to be satisfied. Ooh, interesting thought there. I made a camera once from a sealed Quaker Oats cylinder. I love that. Pinhole camera with aluminum foil, used photographic paper, and the depth of field was great. Awesome. That makes me. I just wanted to read that in the voice of David Lynch. I once made a camera with a sealed Quaker Oats cylinder pinhole camera with an aluminum foil. Used photographic paper, and depth of field was great. That's my David Lynch impersonation. All right. But I guess the art has always been motivated, always been intellectually dissected. But perhaps the internet and increased velocity of modern communication is taken to the extreme. I think you hit the nail of the point there. You're right, absolutely. But I think on top of that, it's not only that the internet takes it to extreme. It also, I think, it takes it. Sometimes we intellectually dissect it with bad faith too. So I wonder. I wonder if the people that are doing the intellectual dissection are doing it with ulterior motives. Obviously political motives, and there's political and ideological, motives behind things. And I know there was a couple of people on here that would like go off on Critical Drinker. And a Critical Drinker has his own ideological bent. Of course, we all do. But to me, he at least, I mean, I haven't watched a lot of his stuff recently, but he at least seemed a little more like nuanced as far as like wanting to be to look at things from a creative aspect of it. Whereas I'll be honest with you, I don't really like Nerdrotic. I think is his videos tire me because it's like every video is the same ideological bent over and over and over again. The woke Hollywood, when will they realize go woke, go broke? And it's like, okay. I agree with you. I actually agree with you, but it feels like every time I watch your video, I'm just getting a sermon about the same thing over and over again. How about an introduction on how titles, font uses, and colors? That goes into graphic design, and it's something I do notice when I work with some students is like, or people that are when I work with different people. It's like your approach to graphic design in your video work. It matters, right? It changes how, because I do a lot of corporate videos, so graphic design is a huge part of motion graphics is a huge part of what I do. So it is key. I don't know if I don't know if I have enough to share with you, like, because it's a whole big world. Like, if you can design a good brochure, you can design good motion graphics. I don't think you can say I don't think you could say if you can't design a good brochure, I don't think you could design a good motion graphics. I think those go hand in hand. Like the ability to design stuff in a graphical format is crucial to doing motion design as well. I miss my videos. I miss making them. I miss also YouTube paying me well. YouTube's is so poor that now that doing videos is going to be a purely a passion play. So, and don't get me wrong, I still have the passion. I'm just tired. I'm old. I'm old. Look at I don't have any hair left. I got rid of it. Do you think music videos are a good strategy in the film industry? Me personally, I feel like it's a good way to develop your craft while maintaining some good amount of income. Well, I'm going to hate to break it to you. Music videos do not generate income unless you're already established making music videos. If you're making music videos for unknown artists, you will not be paid a dime because unknown artists don't have any money. But, I mean, if you have contacts with musicians that have money, labels that have money, you probably are an established creator. So honestly, music videos. I mean, in theory, in the '90s they were actually a caveat because they had, music videos in the '90s had budgets and they had labels and stuff like that. But unless you can get a label behind you to make music videos, it's not a way into the industry. It's like once you've already established. Yeah, I mean, it's a stepping stone, obviously, but I don't think it's actually a way for a newbie to get started. They're really, if I were to tell you the newbies, it'd be like YouTube. YouTube is your only reliable entryway unless you start finding yourself working for other people and networking with filmmakers. But YouTube is your only entryway at this point. I mean, not to be completely bleak, maybe we can drop some comments and some other options, but I don't think music videos are necessarily uh, going forward anything that's viable. I don't even think, to be honest, I don't think the music industry is viable. That's just me. I do think aspect ratio may be a cause of why we have so many dialogue scenes with just 50 cuts to extreme close-ups. A little bit, but the thing is, with larger aspect ratios, you can frame two people in the same shot. Like 4:3, it would be hard to create a two shot, but with a 16 by 9 or wider, you can put two people standing next to each other comfortably, shoulder to shoulder, have a conversation. I think the real reason why the editing of two cuts or multiple cuts and close-ups and all that is because there's this fear of letting scenes evolve. Like, if you watch Pony Crusher, the guy that directed Shazam, he has quite a few videos out there. They're really good to watch. But he talks about he talks about the oneer, like getting things in one take. And part of that is to avoid the studio from like overcutting and altering this. You can alter a script if you shot things in a way with coverage that you can cut things up and change things, then you can make changes in the edit. So you can cut a line of dialogue. You can do this. You can change. You can add a pause where there isn't, to kind of emphasize. There's a lot of tricks you can do with editing if you rely on editing to drive your scene. But if you rely on mise-en-scene or acting, blocking to create the tension in your scene, and you do it as a oneer, then there's nothing you can do with it in the post production. You're stuck with that. That is your choice. Now it can make it much more like dynamically interesting, but can also make it less options in the edit. And I think what happened is basically everybody wants options in the edit, right? Like I hear so much about like how like color grading, right? Oh, I don't, you get to, you want to shoot all these things so that in post you can dial everything in exactly the way you want it. Well, that's true, but like you want to make some decisions in set. So that's my thoughts on that. You made some very good contents about cinema and filmmaking. Thank you for that. Greetings from France. Bonjour. That makes me appreciate complex stories. I could watch 3 or 4 episodes in a row of Lost or from and others because it was just too much to process. But in King of Queens, I could have run 24/7. Yeah, Office. Like, people don't watch The Office for the story necessarily. They watch Office for the characters. Like I think that's the secret to these shows like Office or Seinfeld, or it's like it is sort of like your friends, and you're just hanging out with your friends. And if you know the storyline, it's okay because you're just hanging out. Like The Office is great because it's literally people that you like. You like every single one of those people. Even Dwight Schrute for all his weirdness. Let's see. Do you think good non-scam film festivals or YouTube is better to get the right eyes these days? I think YouTube by far is the way you get eyes. Now, the question is, what kind of eyes are you getting? I mean, you might get a bunch of people that live all over, the world, and they don't necessarily can't really further your career. I'm not saying that they don't matter, because ultimately you are trying to make stuff for people to enjoy. So it doesn't. But if you want eyeballs strictly, then YouTube is far superior. Film festivals, you might get in front of somebody that's important, that has like a networking deal, that might want to network, might want to buy your film, or add it to distribution lists. So in that respects, film festivals are better because it gets you in the right people, perhaps. Again, and I don't want to say that's I don't want to say that all film festivals are scams necessarily, because ultimately, like let's give a Timbuktu film festival, right? Well, the people that start Timbuktu Film Festival are, they love film and they want to put together a little program, a film festival. And yes, they're going to take money. They're going to take $50 from you to enter your film in the film festival, because they've got to have people watch it. So that's not free, right? So it's going to require an entry fee. But ultimately, they're doing it for the love of film, okay? And they want to create this thing to bring filmmakers in and maybe network some filmmakers, and they want to have an event. That doesn't necessarily make it a scam just because it's not an industry film festival. And they may not be successful because maybe they just don't know how to market it. Maybe Timbuktu, and I'm not talking about Timbuktu, film festival may not be a city that likes going to films, or for whatever reason, right? So I don't think necessarily there's scams. I think people get. I guess I'm reacting to that because I remember this one Reddit forum where somebody said, like, I made this movie. I agree it's not the best thing in the world, but the film, they only watched like an hour of it before turning it off, and then but I didn't get accepted. They turned it off before. Shouldn't they have to watch the entire thing? And I'm like, that's the ego of someone that doesn't know the world of filmmaking. Like I remember one time in Vegas, I went to the Vegas Film Festival. I was in it, and that's one of my award-winning films. Right, I got an award there. And this one guy talked me into sitting around after the opening film, which was like a documentary about skiing. It was a very forgettable documentary, but it was like attached to ESPN, so they put it on as their opening film. And I remember and then this one guy like convinced me to stick around after the opening film to watch his movie. And my God, was it bad? It was horrible. It had no dramatic structure. Every other word was fuck. And like you just heard me say the F word. I'm not against the word fuck, but it was like every other word was fuck, and then fuck, and fuck. And it's just like it had no arc. And I'm sitting there for an hour of this, and I'm like, I'm missing a happening after party to watch this shit. So I bolted like after 45 minutes to an hour. I bolted out of there because it was just impossible to watch. And so look, film festivals have to watch all those films. And I think if you submit an hour and a half movie and after an hour they don't feel like they're compelled to finish it, that says your movie sucks. And you really, seriously. Anyhow. YouTube seems incredibly intimidating to me at first glance. I struggle with the concept of getting traction on YouTube. It's very hard. It's hard for even me. All right, I've got 400,000 subscribers, and yet when I put a video out, like or these live streams will get 1,000 views. It's the way it is, But like, unfortunately, though, like, YouTube is a lot more forgiving as far as traction than, say, network TV, than, say, like putting your movies in the theater. I mean, or going to a film festival. Like, if you took your film to a film festival, actually, if you take your film to a film festival, even a legit one, and you do not do any marketing of your film while you're there, you know how many people will show up to your film? 0. That was me. I tried that. No one stuck around for my film because I didn't market it. I didn't push it. It's all about marketing. It's all about eyeballs. It's all about getting people butts in seats. That's why Elon Musk exists, for a character to drive the market. In many ways, Elon is very much of a salesman, and he's sort of an entertaining figure. He's a magnet for attention, and that's true. The movie Dark Star has a great background story about how Dan O'Bannon stole his own film from college and it became a cult classic. Interesting. Action and reaction makes poles, action and reaction makes poles, and from both energy flows. Now we're getting to some deep stuff there. I like that. Give me a good documentary on Bigfoot any day. LOL. There you go. 415,000 subs for the win. Fingers, no, red, number one. I know. Well, the thing is, like, this channel is very old, so a lot of those, probably 415,000 subs, are probably not even alive, or they're bots. I don't know. I didn't buy them. I still haven't won the lottery, but I haven't forgotten you. Oh, that's nice. that Jill? How you doing, Jill? Have you seen Community? I did start watching for a little bit. I wasn't that deep into Community, but I have seen a little bit of it. Can marketing your movie at a film festival be shirked if it's part of a short film program? No. Well, I mean, yeah, because then you're relying on the other people in the short film program to like market their movie, and then they can see yours. But here's the thing, dude. Like, no matter what you do, you cannot avoid it. We don't live in a world of if you build it, they will come, because you're not famous. Like, if you put your video on YouTube and you don't share it with anybody, the amount of people that will see it will probably be not zero, but it'll be very, very little. 20 people. Because you got to share it. You've got to market it. You've got to put it on your Instagram. You got to tell your friends about it. And hopefully, if it's really good and your friends like it, then your friends will share it with their friends, and their friends will share it. And that's how the whole social media works, is people sharing stuff. But if you just put it out there and don't show anybody anything, it is not going to come across. Jill with her hearts up. Love it. John, I just got back from Amsterdam. Glad I caught you. Oh, did you go to that IC3? Is that this time of year? I like to go to Amsterdam. Amsterdam sounds like fun. But I think I'm going to be spending most of my time working on this guy. I will be smoking some pork today in my smoker there. One of my neighbors just put on the sidewalk a pellet smoker, which is right over there. I'll show you. Oops, right there. See the pellet smoker? So I'll be making some pulled pork today. And then after that, he put like another smoker, like a traditional smoker on there, and I got both of those. So none of my friends like sharing my stuff. Face orange, raised eyebrow. Yeah, well, my friends are not online either. So maybe find some friends that are willing to share stuff. I don't know. I smoked something in Amsterdam and wasn't pork. Oh, perhaps it was a turkey. Smoked turkey, by the way, is really the way to go. It's really, really good. I have not tried smoked. I haven't tried fried turkey yet, but so I'm afraid of doing it. But smoked turkey is really, really delicious. Here we go. Loved your vid on frame rate. I have several vids on frame rate. I got an argument with this one guy on Reddit this morning, and I said, he was like, some artifact thing was judder. I'm like, that is not judder. That is not judder. That is some weird math thing going on with After Effects. That is not judder. He's like, I got 25 years of experience in broadcasting. It's like, yeah, well, I have just as much, and I've done studies on frame rate, and if you look at that part of the frame and that part of the frame down there, and they're doing identical things, but this one is juddery, or like they're doing this weird vibration thing, and this one down here is not doing any of that. It's not judder. Anyhow. Orange says, Barbecue Master 2, is there anything that guy doesn't know? I don't know how, well, I don't know a lot of things. But I won't go into there. It's not that kind of podcast. Well, you put security cameras to monitor the studios. Well, maybe I probably will have some sort of security camera stuff going on. But luckily I live in a very, very quiet neighborhood, knock on wood. But the good news is, I mean, it's my studio and my bedroom is right there. My studio's right there. So I'll probably have some cameras here and there. I need to get myself a Ring camera for the front door so I can see when packages arrive. But, I mean, it is really close. Don't smoke Turks. Well, there you go. That's for sure. Oh, thank you, Dennis, for the super chat. Do you like David Lynch? I love David Lynch. I love David Lynch. I'm sorry, that was not very good impersonation. When last did you think about Gemini Man? Well, not as often as I think about the Holy Roman Empire, or just the Roman Empire. I think about the Roman Empire every day. But Gemini Man, it crosses my mind only when somebody leaves a new comment on that video. And I think, My, this movie is so old that no one talks about it anymore, and yet you're still looking up this video about high frame rate, even though probably you didn't really watch it in high frame rate. 25 years of experience are enough. Above that, differences are not visible. There you go. I like that. Yeah, I found that the judder is usually bad compression. Saw a TV broadcast of Simpsons in Holland, and it looked terrible. Yeah, so this guy was explaining this thing with like a radio effect on in After Effects, and the line wouldn't just judder; it would vibrate back and forth as it expanded. All right, so it's a star, and the one side of it would do this, and the other side would just look smooth. So it would look like that. I'm just doing it really good. I'm doing such a good impression of it. It's like I've got yeah. So that's what it was. It's like that's not judder. Judder is not. Gladiator will make you forget about the Roman Empire. Probably. They had newspapers in the room. I never saw the Gladiator 2. Maybe I shouldn't watch that Gladiator 2. So there's one film that I wanted to see. I might go see it. Maybe I'll go see it tonight. I don't know. It's this guy. It's a local town filmmaker. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called The Green and the Gold, and it's actually made by a filmmaker that lives in my town. And I'm kind of curious about it because I got approached by somebody that was in his movie, and maybe it'd be cool to like get to network with this guy and talk to him about it. Green and Gold. It stars, I guess his name is Anders Lidwall. The director, Anders Lidwall. Yeah, Lindwall. He lives near me. It stars Craig T. Nelson and some other people that I don't know of. Brandon Skellner. It's about this guy that a struggling family wagers everything on high-stakes championship bet while his granddaughter's musical ambitions could be their ticket to a new beginning. Filmed primarily in Door County, Wisconsin. God, family, and the Green Bay Packers. Here's the review. What's refreshing as a proud Wisconsinite, it was good to see many filming locations I visited. Add a Christian message. It was great. Seeing all the daily ups and downs working on a farm was eye-opening. Really enjoyed all the acting, especially Craig T. Nelson. My father passed away 2 years ago. I knew he would love to see his teenager who worked on a family farm, diehard Packers fan. If you enjoy movies, it's a great message. I hope you see it in theaters. All the best toward making a success. Thanks for your entire production. So that's the movie he made. The Green and Gold. It's a pretty happening live stream today. Got 35 viewers now. Should do more for my backyard, I suppose, huh? This is doing pretty good. I can't stay too much longer. My battery on my camera is about to die, and I don't think I have a cable right now. And plus, I need to get started on the pulled pork. And I'm just gonna relax the rest of the day. Yesterday I rented a pallet jack. I moved 1,000 pounds of rock on my pallet jack, which is surprisingly easy to do. Then I returned the pallet jack. Then I bought this Japanese blueberry tree. I planted that. Then I tried to fix the irrigation system because they had a new fence put in. You can kind of see the fence behind me. And when they did that, they like ripped up my irrigation, so I had to fix like multiple breaks in it, and it was extremely irritating. I am not a thin guy, although I'm getting thinner, thank the Lord. With a little bit of help of something called semaglutide. So it's been helping me. I'm trying to lose weight. As you see, I'm wearing black. If I turn sideways, where did I go? I just disappeared. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that thin yet. But anyhow, so I'm trying to lose weight. And then I played a single person's awareness concert last night. And so yeah, no, it's been. I was thinking about installing my carpeted stars on my front yard today, and I thought I just need to relax. I need to just not do a lot of. I need to take a day off and not kill myself. That might not be a bad idea. So I do need to take it easy. And I think I'll make my pulled pork. I'll go get some tortillas. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday, so I don't know when the Super Bowl because I don't really pay attention to Super Bowl anymore. But maybe, and then I need to take a bath, get inside the nest and just soak in Epsom salt bath. That'll be great. Oh, that sounds good. Did I watch Flight Risk? I have not. I don't know. It's is that the Mel Gibson's movie? It might be kind of fun. I don't know. I just not. I don't know. I want to keep watching Twin Peaks. Is what I want to do. Oh, there he is. Eucarpus decipiens Japanese blueberry tree. They are cool trees, and it was only $160. All right, getting to the bullet science. Reaching for my heart. Got a frame rate question. We're mostly digital. Why do we still have 2398, 94 options on cameras when their interlace rates are also found on the label? It's just because of legacy. Because everything in the United States still runs on the 5994 clock. That's all it is. Because and you don't necessarily want to change it. Although I mean, we're getting to the point where new stuff can be made in a non-integral format, but for broadcast, because everything in broadcast is a 59.94 clock, that you're going to do it that way. Like if you go onto television, cable broadcast, all the infrastructure is built along that clock, so that's why we still have it. It's not necessarily that we can't show it, and so I always approach because I'm a huge believer in like legacy, like just because we don't have to doesn't mean we have to get rid of it. So like, what's the difference between 29.97 and 30? Well, there's really not much difference at all. So you might as well just do 29.97. Although to be fair, in dealing with some of the live stuff I've been doing, it, mixing different integer and non-integer frame rates can be kind of annoying. But there is a reason for having that, and that's just because the infrastructure exists for that system. So since there's no noticeable difference, why not just keep it around for the old stuff at least? I found a video that mentions Spiroscurus from 20th Century Fox and was filming in Greece in that 1948 Marsh with a Marshall Plan. That's cool. I stand by. Jurassic Park is coming. The trailer looks sketchy. Yeah, at what point I think it's called the Lost World, right? Or Jurassic World. Imagine arguing on Reddit and then realize you're arguing with Filmmaker. The thing is, though, most people on Reddit don't know about Filmmaker IQ, and I'm too self-conscious to always mention that I am, But like people who argue with me on Reddit usually don't know what Filmmaker IQ is, because it's sort of Filmmaker IQ is sort of an older generation thing. I love this comment. The best gym is working outdoors. Now, look, I make fun of my friends. Although to be fair, I'm the only friend that really has a house. Like they go to the gym, and I'm like, oh, you guys are telling me how you do your workout, huh? Come to my house. We'll dig a trench. Let's go. Let's dig a trench. You want a workout? Let's dig a trench. Come on. Let's dig a trench. Yeah, tell me about your Bulgarian lifts now. Dig a trench. Or lift a boulder. That was fun. I had to get my friend involved. And he goes to the gym all the time, but I think also I weigh 3 times as much as him, so I have a lot more like brute strength. But yeah, that boulder that's like a 500-pound boulder. That was insane. Which season am I on? I am right now in the middle of season 2, and I planned on watching everything. I want to watch the movie. I'm gonna watch the prequel movie, and I want to watch the follow-up seasons too. Even consoles still do 59.97. Yep. Must be because, well, I don't know if they do 119.988. That seems a little weird, but if they do, I guess they do. But yeah, they're used to TVs. Like you don't want to go over to your grandma's house and like, what? My grandma's like, I can't watch this DVD that you made for me. Why not, Grandma? Oh, I don't know why. Well, it's because you coded at a frame rate that her TV from the 1980s doesn't. She doesn't want to get rid of her TV. It's people forget that there's a lot of people in this world that aren't using the latest technology, and I have one client that still has me put stuff on USB sticks for them. Yeah, I charge them like $3 a USB stick to put stuff on a USB stick for them. or maybe $3 or $3.50 now. I think it raised it because of inflation. But it's like, you're making me put stuff on a USB stick. Now, to be fair, to feel like I accomplished something, I make little labels and I put them on the DVD so that at least I feel like I've done something other than just go, okay. And, oh yeah, before you ask me, those are USB sticks that they give me, so I recycle their USB sticks. It's not like they're brand new USB sticks. Anyhow. Is it the resolution or is it the focus on the wall in the background? Oh, it's probably, I don't know. Maybe I wasn't in focus. It's hard to tell because I'm outside in the sun. And it's not only that, it's also, or am I in low resolution mode? I don't think I am. No, that's not in low res mode. That's low res mode. It's probably both. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm outside and I can't really see very well. And we are kind of just winging it right now. My battery's down to 10%, so I may have to go pretty soon. If I go dark, you know why. There's no such thing as a bad dinosaur movie. That's not untrue, I guess. Oof, middle of season 2 is rough. Well, I'm enjoying it. Never go to the gym, just walk, and start Twin Peaks rewatch soon. Have you seen the international pilot with Firewall? No, I have not, so I have to watch those. I'm doing the same thing. Just finished season 1. It's so good. I just enjoy it. It's very, and you know what? I didn't realize that Jack Nance was at Racerhead. That changes everything. Like I was like, who is this Jack Nance guy? Why does he sound so? You know, I've heard that name, Jack Nance, and I look him up and I'm like, holy shit, that's Eraserhead. Like I didn't realize that because he looks so different. But he has that same he has this acting that he's like very weird, kind of Midwestern acting, and yeah. I'm in focus now, probably because I just didn't have a focus on me, right? Oh no, it's not. That's not the reason why. Or you're talking about the frequency, 60 versus 50. Yeah. Oh, maybe that's what you guys are talking about. Europeans still use their 50, where TV productions and YouTube are also 50. Yeah. Broadcast standards are still 25, not 20, but it's 25p, not 50i. Now for YouTube doesn't make a difference on digital. Yep. Yeah, Pete is Henry. Yeah, he's just such an interesting actor. Could higher frame rates upgrade picture quality? No, they don't. They change the higher frame rates change the quality and nature of the image. They don't actually increase the quality. I still liked it, but once Lynch comes back to the show, rockets. So I'm back with Lynch's in the show. Oops, I didn't mean to put that on the screen. There we go. Have I seen Lynch's Dumbland? No, I haven't. Have not. I want to go back and watch Mulholland Drive, but it wasn't on any of my streaming services. I think I might have it on Blu-ray or DVD. Anyhow. All right. Well, it is 2:08 right now. I need to go to Costco. I don't know why I need to go to Costco. I need to get going though. All right. All right. Well, I think we've done enough damage. My battery's at like 5%, or my battery's gone. I'm gone. There's no more me. Ah. All right. So I guess that's our clue for us to be over here. So you're just staring at a still image of me looking to the side. For all you know, I could be naked. Who knows? So okay. So with that, since the camera is no longer completely out of battery, we will see you guys later. Hopefully, the next time you see me, have more done on my background here. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Bye bye. Ta ta for now.